Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So, okay, so I think I explained a little bit about what we are trying to do
Yeah.
in terms of helping Ghanaians change their mindsets and also see that when you see someone successful, usually you see them where they are, but you never see the journey,
Right.
right? So we're just trying to show people, okay, it's not any magic or anything, but it's actually just hard work and deciding that this is what I'm going to do and doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you for agreeing to allow us to interview you. I guess can you give us some background about who you are and how you got started in your business?
All right. So, who am I? My name is Tomety, and I work as a um, production designer, set builder, art director, usually for film, TV, and events.
Okay.
Um, Background, where did I start? I think generally I had an art background as a kid growing up. I remember my parents always getting me sketch pads every weekend. Like it was a thing. Like if you got me a sketch pad, I'm excited. And then I would do all the things, and I did a bit of this, a bit of that, did all the art things in the house. Um, Maybe the house was also arty because my dad was a mechanical engineer. My mom was a home scientist. She would cook, she would make clothes, she would do all the chair bag things and stuff like that. She would sew her own clothes. Um, my elder sister did fine arts also. She's a goldsmith now. There's one else who did building technology, one who did civil engineering. So you have that art thing, in different disciplines going around everybody in the house. I mean, my uncle was an architect, so obviously there's that art thing in the house that everybody probably picked up. But I enjoyed the art thing growing up. So um, from there, I think senior high school, I decided to read. Actually, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. I said, oh, I want to be like my daddy. That's. But going to high school, I think my mom said, no, no, no. I think you enjoy doing art, so I don't think you should force yourself. But think about it and see if this, you think you may want to do that, or just go do art and see how it comes out. So yeah, I decided to continue with art, and I went to pre-sec senior high school, and then I read visual arts, and yeah, came back from pre-sec, and then went to film school here in Ghana, in West Africa, NAFTI, and did a 4-year degree in bachelor's degree in art direction, which is in film. But yeah, yeah. But I would say that the way they taught us then in NAFTI was pretty, I think it was good and intensive because it made you all rounded. Like, even though you came to try and specialize in an area, in your first 2 years, they taught you everything about film and television and how it worked and how even the equipment worked and everything. So you had a chance to practice with everything and make your own movies, like edit, direct, like everything film. You had a chance. And then in your last 2 years, you specialize in what you actually came to do. So, it gives you the background to be able to step into this field, that field, that field, that field. Now the good thing about it for people who studied art direction was I could fit in any industry. You could put me in the advertising industry and I'll be there. You could put me in the music video industry, I'll fit in. You could put me in event industry, I'll fit. Film, I'll fit. TV, I'll fit. So it's a thing when you study. You are not. I don't think you're going to make a loss because you can decide to choose an industry and you just make it in there. I think so. I think you'll make it. Unlike maybe in the States where there are people who are just cut for music video industry. They don't cross over because it's a different type of genre. Even though you must understand it, but it's a different type of genre. So there are people who are just cut for it and they just do that. But over here, I mean, look at that place. I don't think we have too much going on. There's not too many people doing the same thing. So what it also allows you back home here is to be able to fit in everywhere, and people actually require the service. And then once you understand from what you studied and you add on, I think it makes it easier, or not easier, but at least it gives you the opportunity to be able to know that, oh, there's opportunities to, do some work.
How many siblings do you have?
So I grew up with 3.
3 siblings.
Yeah,
Are you
fourth. So I'll probably be the last.
the last? Okay. The reason I'm asking is usually in families that there's the pressure to get someone has to get the respectable job.
Yes.
And so for your mom to say, art direction, that's really not that's special.
I mean, from all the way from high school. Now, even going to film school, we had to argue. My mom and I argued. I was like, no, I finished art anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember even before I finished school, because when I watched telly, I mean, which you knew I used to watch, like I used to admire all these ads that I saw. For me, I could see an ad and say, oh, this is nice. I like this ad. And when they play the ads, they always write the company that made them beneath it. So I used to see it, and what I did was write letters to those companies to tell them how I appreciate the ad and things like that. And I'll probably sit behind my PC and design a plaque and go give it to them and things like that. I used to do all that, like walk to the companies and things. So as much as I used to do that, even before I decided to go to, I went to film school. I didn't think that I wanted to go to film school. I just thought that I wanted to be in that industry or do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I felt going to read graphics in university was the way to get into it. So it was an argument. I was like, no, I'm going to go to tech. She's like, no, you have to go to NAFTI. That's where the thing. I was like, no. We went back and forth, and she got people to talk to me. Like people were like, and my mind was made up. I was like, no. So I think what happened, the interesting thing was when I applied to university that year, even though she told me to apply to film school, I just applied straight to tech, and I was like, I'm just going to go to tech and read graphics. When I finish, I know I'm going to get through this thing, and so I did. Now, when I chose my subjects to read in the university, I think I chose graphic design first, and then I chose publishing studies, and then there was rural arts and something like that. Then right before I had to send the thing, she said, oh, I just spoke to my friend, and she says, publishing studies is better, you get work, you do that and blah, so why don't you just swap publishing studies and from graphics and make it the first one and make graphics the second one? And I said, okay. So I did that. Then I sent in the application. Then we're waiting, and I was like, what's happening? My mates are going to school, why am I not getting admission? So I decided to go to the campus. I actually did go there, spend a couple of weeks there. I wanted to see the what do you call him? The vice chancellor at the time. I wanted to see her and find out why I didn't get admission, because I'm qualified, So, and nobody was allowing me to see her. At the time, I had a cousin in the medical school over there, so I was staying with him. So I said to him, you know what? I'm just can you guys show me her house? There was a woman at the time. I'm going to go see her. I think her name was Mrs. Kwashisam or something. I'm going to go to her house on campus and talk to her and tell her, look, I need to be in school. There's no way I cannot be in school. And so I found the house. And she used to be a tough woman. So everybody on campus was very, hey, you're going to see that woman, you're going to see. I was like, well, I want to hear it from herself. She has to tell me. Yeah. Then maybe I can relax and I'll think of what else to do. So I remember going to her house. Now I stood outside for how long? Because everybody had said all these tigress things about this woman that I didn't even know how to approach her. So I stood outside. I was just waiting. Maybe her car will pull out and then I'll stop her and talk. Nothing was happening. And I could see them walk the way the house was. You could see her walk, up and down. So I said, I'm just going to go in and knock. So I went in and then I knocked. Then she opens and I'm sure she was like, who is this person? Or something like that. She's there with her husband. So I said, I had come to see her. And she said, okay. And I sat down. And I told her, well, this is my thing, and that I had applied to school. I know that I've qualified. These are my grades. I don't know what's going on with admission. Is there a way I can get into the school? And I think just by the way I was able to come to her, straight to her house and speak to her and try and let her understand my reason for coming, She just sat down for a while and nothing was happening. And she said, "You know what? I'm sorry, but it's because in my batch, usually when you finished, you had to wait home 1 year before you go to school.
Yeah.
Then the system changed when you finish, you had to just go to school.
Mm.
So in my batch, the intake was double. The people right after me, and so she said to me, she understands. I qualified for everything on the list, but what happened was because the numbers were huge, unlike what it's supposed to be, they consider only first choice subjects. So once you don't make the cut for first choice, then
Yes,
automatically somehow you don't make, because there's numbers, there's a lot more people. So I should go back and apply in the next year and make sure I choose, choose the course that I want to do. And that's what she can do for me now. So I said, okay. I mean, I was sad, but I was also fulfilled because now I heard it from,
from her,
me. So then I packed my bags and came home. And what did I do? I think in that 1 year waiting to go to school again, I ended up teaching at a computer school. Like I went to computer school and I ended up teaching like CorelDRAW graphics. So I was teaching people from GIS and even I think the current GIS headmistress kids, I taught them. That's a big course. I taught all those kids. So I taught all those people. Whilst I was teaching, admissions came in again that year, and then I applied to both places. So now this time was the argument where my mom said, you have to go to film school because you like watching film. You like watching what people have made. Why don't you want to make
your own?
Your own. So I applied to tech, which would probably be my thing that I wanted to still go to. And I applied to film school. And then the admissions came. And my mom was just bent on saying that this is the right choice for you, I think. So you have to go. I'm not going to pay the fees for the other one. This is what I'm going to pay the fees for. So I went there, I got my admission letter, I had to write an acceptance letter to the school. I did all that, and then I just went in. So it wasn't more like, oh, you have to get a respectable job. I think she was more of, she's seen what it's in the kid and what
this is your passion.
Yeah, so I need to be able to direct you to, what I think in the future you will not regret. And, once you get there, you understand all these things. So I actually got into film school, but even in film school, I think my family thought I was reading animation.
Okay.
Whilst I was doing art direction. So they didn't, I was in school, but what is this guy doing? He's always coming home to pick a chair or come and pick some table, or he says, like all that thing. And then in school one day I built one huge bar which is for television production, and it was like in the studio, and I had to transform the whole studio into like a pub, like everything sitting there, pool table, everything. And I came home to take all the glasses, like to make the bar and things like that. So I said, you know what, come with me, let's go to school, let me show you something. So she came with me, and then we went into the studio, and then when she got there, everyone was like, hey, this is your son does very well, like look at what he's done, like all the things. And so she was in the studio and she was like, okay. This is
I understand what he does, yeah.
So I think she was glad. I mean, I never regretted, honestly. I didn't regret the choice I made by saying, okay, I'll go to film school. I think that I got to realize that, like I said earlier, it allows me to fit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like in what I chose to do, it allows me to fit everywhere. So after school, I shot how many different commercials? Like worked for Originate, did all the MTN ads, like worked for Ramesh.
How did you what was the transition from school to work to starting your own business?
So, I mean, usually when you film in film school, it's more like a freelance thing. I mean, you get called to work on different jobs, production houses, look for personnel. Now, I think my first job I was actually still in film school.
Okay.
Yeah, I was it third year or second year, latter part of second year in film school. And then I had a mate who was interning at the production, I think Apex. And then they needed an art director for like a shoot. And so he suggested, oh, they call me, like this guy, I know this guy does some good stuff, so they called me. And then I went the first day of shoot. So I went to Apex first day, we're meeting, and then we went to we did the shoot and everything. And then Ramesh is like, oh, wait, are you free the next day? I have another job. And I said, yes. I mean, even if I had lectures at the time, I just said, yes, I'm free. I'm going to come and do it. So then, yes, that's how it started with Apex. And every other time, and any time they had a shoot, I had to just, they had
Go
to call me
there.
with them. So then another colleague said, was at Originate. So, oh no, we know this guy, he does this and that and that. So I went to do one job at Originate, and then every other time, it's
they'll
like,
call
you
you.
know, I went to Farmhouse, and then every other time was like that. I went to Revel Films those days, shooting Home Sweet Home, and every other time was like that. So it was like every first job I did, well, to me, at the time I wanted to prove a point too, because I've always felt that everything is possible. I do not see why it cannot be done. And we always watch the telly and we see it and we think that only the white people can do it. And I always felt like that it's not about the color of the skin. It's really what's in your heart and what's in your head. And if you have the skill, you should be able to do it. Same, So there are things that I did that I did not. I know these were not the materials. I did not have what it would be like if I was trying to do what it did outside. But I was able to find things around there to make it, and that's what I feel like is the difference, because you have to be constructivist enough to know that I'm able to turn this table around upside down and it means something else. It doesn't always mean that it's the table. We know how it's used, but can I turn around for it to look like something else, which gives meaning to it? Those were the things for me that I enjoyed doing, because that is being creative, and then you turn around things. Yeah.
What gave you the confidence to be able to do that first job when Ramesh called you? Because if that was your first professional job, right?
Yeah, that was my first. Yeah, it was TV commercial, and at the time, that's how they paid here in Ghana. I don't do like that anymore. So you called me, but but then that's how also they taught us in school again, so that art direction, you know what encompass, because it's big when you're being a production now, art direction, because you've got costume department, you've got makeup and hair department, you've got props, everything under one thing.
Yeah.
But in school in those days, we were taught as one person to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I did all the hair and makeup for, I did all the costuming, I did all the sets, all the you're taught to do everything.
Yeah.
And then at Ramesh's place, you had to do the same thing. You're shooting a commercial, but you're in charge of the model's costume and hair and makeup, the set. So you're doing one thing, and then they call you, But I think it was just me wanting to show that it's possible. I can do it. Like, I'm not here to mess around. And I understand that question, because I've seen a lot of people that I take to work now, and they are not that confident. But I don't know what the problem is. But unless you don't know what the job is, unless you don't like the job that you want to do, I think that you will never be confident.
I think there's a mindset here where if you haven't done it before, you're scared of even if you've been training to do it like your whole life. It's like, I don't want to go and mess up.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think it's just, I feel like it's just in the head, because I was telling somebody recently that if you know where you are from or where you come from, you know where you want to go, because unless you know your background, I don't think you know where you want to get to. So I think for me, it was more, and I had seen also what I had seen in school when I had gone to film school, was I saw a lot of the old things that people previous years had done. Some of them did not look, they look good, but they did not look refreshing to me. It looked like the way you're saying, everybody was in the stereotype, cut fashion of, this is how it has to be done, this is how it has to be done. And so, and I was like, why must it, be like that? And I remember saying to myself, well, when I get to my 10, I'm not going to be doing things like that, and I did a couple of things. Like, I would tell my lecturer, no, I want to do it like this because so and so and so, and they will understand, and they'll say, okay, do it and let's see. And then I did it, and then it works. So anytime I was doing something and then they come, I was like, I want to do it like that. They made me do it. Like, and everybody in the school, I was like, I don't get, I want this type of light in the set, in the studio. I know you don't have it, but can I just pull it off, put it there, and when I finish, I'll bring it back. Like, I did things like that, and then everybody, oh, he likes to worry. But then by the time I finished doing the thing, then everybody is like appreciating what he did. So those were the things that I did that were probably different. I was the time I wanted a particular type of paint. The school said, oh, this is what we had in the store. I was like, no, but I want this paint. It's not, I actually said, this is not expensive. You can just go here and get it for me, and I'll finish the job. And so I had to go and bring my lecturer, supervisor, accountant, and I was like, to give them the money, right? And then they went to buy the paper for me. I used it, and then everybody's like, oh wow, okay, so this is different. So I didn't grow up like that though. I must tell you, I grew up very quiet, always in my room.
Because I was just about to ask you, because in the story, what you said, you have a strong personality, basically. Because not many Ghanaians would have gotten up and gone to the vice chancellor and be like, "Why didn't you accept me?" Not many of them would have argued with their mother and said, you know, like or gone and accepted Ramesh's job.
Yeah,
you know. So
I don't know. I just think that's that part of me is inherent. But on a normal day, I'll be very quiet and look. Quiet, stay in my own space. I can stay in my room for 2 days. I don't mind. Just be there and process everything in my head, you know. But I just feel like if you have to do it, if there's something you really have to do, you must approach it the way it has to be, you know.
Okay. So what made you decide to start your own company?
So there was one job I got from TV3, but before all that, I was still working, but I was working more freelance. Somebody calls you here and like, oh, come and do this, come and do this, come and do this. Then I was working on one big feature at the time with Leila Jansi, who somebody had said, actually met Leila online. Now when you see us, you think that we know each other. Everybody does access. Back in the States here, everybody, how do you know? I'm like, oh, Facebook. They're like, oh, how? I'm like, yeah, Facebook. But I was doing a job like that, pretty huge. Brought people from outside again, always foreign crew. And then I get to do the job, and I was post-production design this, and what do you call it? I was given a warehouse to like build the entire set and house for the film, and everything was going to be filmed in there, and it was something I had studied, but nobody does it here like that. So now I felt like it was an opportunity to. I'm like, okay, this is a challenge. I want to be able to do this, but you know, before you are going to do that, because of all the accounting purposes and you know all the budget issues going through here and there, checks being paid to this and that, there has to be a structure. And to be able to get that structure going, this is not one of the small jobs you go to on one day and then they pay you the money you put in your pocket. Mm-hmm. So I had to make the structure. So I was like, you know what? I always called myself Art Direction House anyway.
Yeah.
I always did call myself that. So then I said, okay, I'm just going to go register this, make it what it's supposed to be, and start from there gradually, and then that's what I'm going to use, and then, you know, we are going to get there. So it was that job, and whilst I was doing that job, I got a job from TV3 to do a set for them for one of their shows. And then they also said, oh, we need to write this in your company name. They're not going to give you the check in that, you know. So whilst I was sorting that out, I called my bank, and they're like, oh, we can open an account for you in a day. Don't worry, just bring me the documentation. We'll do that. So I just took everything they opened, and that was it. I'm like, okay, so from now on, everything is like Art Direction. You can call me, but it still has to go through Art Direction House. That way I know that there's something we're getting to. And it's going to take some time, but, you know, we'll get there. And that's how I started. And since then, it's been one job after the other, one job after the other, one job after the other. It's yeah.
Has there been any point where you've thought, why did I do this? Why didn't I just go work for like a advertising agency?
Yeah, I mean there have been times, but then what happened was I had also worked a lot with all these ad agencies, and there was a point in time if you had worked into Originate, you would think that I was a permanent staff.
Okay. Because
now it got to the point that I think that they believed that I knew so much and did so much, I could do the job of maybe 2-3 people at a time. So even when they had an audition, they were like, no, you have to sit in. You know, you have to sit in and see the people and advise it, you know, if you think that the award this will work for them and things like that. So I think I knew how the system worked in the agency. So I was like, I don't think I want to be. I'd rather be out, and then they would invite me to come and do the job. Then it's a different thing once you're in there, and it's always different when you're from outside. So having known the system and how it worked, and how also the other thing was the other thing that would have probably made me go was how people were paying you if you were freelancing. Mm-hmm. It's tough. This place can be frustrating. Ghana can be. I don't know. It's almost like you do a job for somebody and they feel like they made you a favor by giving you a job, and not not you doing the job because they needed your skill and your talent, but they feel like they did you a favor. So you shouldn't even be asking. Even if your pay takes 2 months, you should just chill,
and
like,
just
and think that nothing. So when you think about those things, you're like, you know what? Let me just go work for this person. At least job security at the end of the month, I'm going to get paid. So yeah, there were times like that, but I just felt like if I work for anybody permanently, my creativity is restricted. I'm not allowed to be able to open up and do the things like I want to do, because then I'm supposed to toe a certain line, and every time that's what you're supposed to do, and I just feel like that's not interesting enough.
Have you had any mentors?
You know what? Not really. When I know that when I began from film school, some of the first jobs I used to go along with my lecturer.
Okay.
And we did a couple of things together, and I just like to look up to those people because they were there and they knew what the system was, and then if I went around with them, I would understand what it meant by doing those things. And this same person who I used to follow around got a job. And what happened? I was like, oh, I can't do it. The people were not ready or something like that. And honestly, the people were not ready. So he just said, go and see what he can do for them. And that was the first set. So I went, and they didn't have anything. They wanted a set built for a quiz show, like a TV program, and they only had a banner. And we took this some hall to say, okay, we have to set up this. That day was like, I don't know, it was tough. But I did it. Then I came back to tell him, and he was like, well, then this is what you should do. Go back to them and tell them you can design a set for them, and take it from there. So I did go back, and I told them, that thing was not a set. Like, if you want a proper set for a TV show, I can sit down and do something for you. We can budget it and we can start. And I went to speak to them, and they agreed, and they made me do the set for them. And at the time, I can tell you this, and I still remember, when we finished the budget for the set, in those days it was an old CD, and they gave me the money. Half. It was a part payment, and I went to the bank to take that money. It was probably the hugest check I'd ever seen, personally, as a person. But when I went to the bank actually told me, oh, the check is too big, the money is too much. So, in fact, you have to wait a bit, because if you give you this money, we can't pay. We can't pay the rest of the people. So I sat there for like 1.5 hours just waiting, because they said they had to go and take that money from a different source and bring it to me. And I was like, okay, it's all right. But it was frustrating sitting down for that long. Yeah. But that's how much it meant to me to say, okay, so this is my first job. This is just part payment. And even that, the bank cannot give me the money on the spot. I had to wait. But I got the money, I did the job, the people liked it, like everybody was happy. And then also that was another, challenge. And I think since then it's just been, oh, call this guy. Everything is call this guy. I get a call sometimes, I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, okay, what is it? I like to listen. Okay, this is how we have to do. But it's it's still very difficult for some people to understand what it takes to do what I do.
What you do.
Yeah. It's not easy.
How did you learn the business side of?
So the business side came when, like I said, you work with people your monies would be there, and you don't know how to go and collect it.
Okay.
But the person is still calling you for a job, but because you also want to do the job, you go back and do the job, and so it just keep piling up monies, and then you're not getting it. And at the times when you probably get it, you feel like it's a lot of money, so then it makes you forget the hassle you went through. So, and I remember that lecturer of mine, when he used to do jobs, would do an invoice with me, because it's the thing we actually learned in school also.
Okay.
So as part of the program in my film school, there was a course called location management, and as part of location management, you did something called budgeting. So we learned how to budget and cost for things, and we actually, were marked for it. But I remember doing some jobs with him, and he would do the budget, and he would write like payment terms and all those things around and things like that. And he would go, and when he cuts down a couple of times, and the people would say, oh no, he would be like, no, I'm sorry, this is what I can do. Otherwise, then it's all right, and then we can pass on the job to somebody else. So when I started that company, I design my invoices and everything again, and I also put my payment terms beneath it and said this is how it's going to be until I can start doing this, and then gradually I can get an accountant to kind of like straighten up, everything and find out how it should go and stuff like that. And then checks my rating in the company name. That way, you know how, what you're getting,
track and everything,
and stuff like that. So, yeah, once I registered the company and did the invoicing, then I had to now start putting all those little business sides, because honestly, I'm the person who doesn't want to do the figures after all. I'm just the person who wants to create the thing.
Art, yeah.
So I don't want to be bothered by those, but I also need to be paid to be able to do the thing. So yeah, sometimes it's tough, because if you like the job too much, even when you've not been paid, you still want to be able to finish the job and still have fulfillment that, oh yeah, I was able to still do it. And so yeah, you go ahead and finish it, and then now you go back and chase the money and things like that. But I realize it's probably not the thing to do anymore. So these things come from experience and how you get into it, and then what you learn, and then I got opportunities to do stuff outside people and stuff, like I have family in the States, but I almost mainly based here. So I could have gone a long time ago if I wanted to, like, say, okay, just go, like, you've done some things there, just stay there, and structure works there and everything. And I hear it every time. People still ask me, why are you still here? Why are you still here? You should come. Like, you'll be better off. And it's true. Some of the things you if you think about it, you'll be better off. But I don't know why I always felt like there's still that gap here that needs to be filled. And so if one keeps going away, then we keep going down instead of going up. So I've always still wanted to be here, and that's why I'm still here. But yeah, that's how the business part started. And,
if you could talk to yourself at the beginning of your journey, what would you tell yourself?
At the beginning of my journey?
Yeah. With what you know now?
With what I know now?
Yes.
What would I tell myself? It's a good question. No, I even thought about that before. I think I'll still tell myself everything is possible. Like, I'll still tell myself that there's no giving up, because the truth is that nobody's going to take charge of your destiny. My parents are my parents, but they are not the ones to make me to eat. Like, when I grow up, they will always not be there for me. So nobody's going to take charge of your destiny. You've got to be able to do it yourself. And so I'll still tell myself that, because that, I feel like, will still keep me thinking that, okay, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it, like, it's possible. And I think the difference is that once I tell myself that and I'm able to do one thing and it works, I'll believe. And once I believe, I will not, I'll always be confident in anything you give me. There could be tough things, there could be challenging things, they come. I mean, life is like that, up and downs and things like that. But I think believing is a good thing. And so I'll tell myself, that everything is possible, and I'll believe. And once I believe, I feel like I can achieve. It's just what I think.
Okay. Do you have any advice for people who want to start a business or are thinking of going into art direction as well?
Look, yes, I mean, do not, and I'm saying this because I've had the opportunity to teach back in the film school, and sometimes when I teach, and because the students know some of the things that I've done and the things that I worked on, oh, you worked on this of no nation, oh, you did this one, oh, you did this one. Do you know the question? Oh, how much was it? That's I feel like that's a wrong way to even look at the skill and the profession, and to start thinking of the money first is like the wrong thing. You have not even thought of how to create something here, and you're thinking about what you're going to get into your pocket. Because I feel like it's just life and how it comes. Like they say, you have to learn how to crawl before you can walk. So if you don't even know how to create it, like you're studying the thing, you're not even thinking of how will I be able to get myself into the industry to show the people, oh, this is what I can do, it's possible, I can also do this. And you're already thinking how much it can be. And then I tell them, look, it doesn't, for us, for what we learn, you do not have to come out and want to be, and think of being they hate. Oh, I want to be like that. There are people. Actually, there are people I hear in town who say, I want to be like Tony. Don't be like me. Like just
be your own self.
Be your own self and do the job above my standard, if that's a better way. But I understand when they say I want to be like you, but to take it literally like that, I mean, I don't think it's a thing. You have to find yourself. And so if you finish and you do not have to come out and graduate and be, because you have the certificate that says art director of production design, so you have to be an art director of production designer. No, there's nothing wrong with being the best props person in West Africa. It's good enough work to do.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that we over here we like you said earlier on, have a good job or a good color job. We think so much of those things and say, but if I'm a props person, people will say that but you are a props person and things like that. So because of that mentality, they don't want to think like that. Oh, I'm not. Why would I say I'm a makeup person? Like me, I want to become a production designer. Titles, you know, people enjoy the titles, like titles all the time. So if you want to do business, I think you should forget about the titles first. Money is important, but I think you should concentrate first on, can I deliver the job? Is this something I can do? Can I do it? If I can do it, then you are confident enough, and you know that once you're confident enough, the money always comes after. It's not going to go. It's going to come. But you have to be confident enough, and you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, I think that's a weak point already. There's nothing you touch on the job that will work. Because sometimes you're doing the job and you can see the mistake yourself. You can see it. But you see, being able to identify the mistake alone is enough, because then it shows that your mind is up there. But if you cannot even identify your own mistake, and it takes somebody you're working for to come and be able to tell you what the mistake is, then I don't think I don't think you're doing what you're supposed to do. So people got to be patient. People got to learn. I noticed again that apprenticeship in this country is one of the biggest things that people don't want to do. We don't want to shadow people. We don't want to follow them around. We don't want to, go and see how it is done. We just want to get up and also do it and get money. But we didn't start like that. I didn't get all the things that I have now like that. I was working jobs and being paid nothing. But I wanted to. It's just apprenticeship. You must do it. And what it does is it just gives you experience. So now if I was standing on a set of somebody filming, I could tell you this is wrong, because I have been through it, and I know what it is, and I know the result. But I think now, in our part of the world right now, the way everything is going, I think there's a lot of people who don't like apprenticeship, and that is it's actually a core problem in my industry, but also the whole country. I think it's just a whole country thing. Everybody just wants to get up and drive a range. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. You start from a golf, maybe in a Datsun or something. You start from somewhere. You work your way up to that. But if you don't want to start from there, you can buy that thing, but you cannot even maintain
it. It just be in the garage.
So people must learn to be apprentice, and you get a lot of experience from being an apprentice. And I think with that you can solve every problem that comes to you. And I think that is what makes other countries, other people from elsewhere, because there's so much apprenticeship. Like, they don't care. You see, they don't care first about the money. I want to get into the system. How can I even get into the system? And for me, that's what I used to do. I wasn't even following, because how many people did what I did, really? So who was I supposed to go follow? But mine was to follow, when I came to first year in film school, to follow every person ahead of me doing my course. So went on set with them after my classes to see what they did. And by the time I got to my year, I saw all the things that happened. So of course I could apply it in my job, and that's how I followed people. I didn't have too many people to follow here, but now I have people who want to follow me. I'm glad. But the thing is, it gets difficult for me because you don't know whether a person is following you to get paid, really, or they're just following you because they really want to know. Yeah. So sometimes I do not know who to call. I have people I work with, but I'm like, okay, this person comes and like, oh, I want to work with you. I want you to train me. Okay, I don't have a problem, but what do you require from me? Then it's like, I probably will not give you transport, but if you are here to because of this, then it's not employment, because I would have employed you. But I think people must be willing to just be patient, believe in themselves, find themselves, find what they love to do, make sure they get a structure simply. If you don't know anything, you have to ask. There's nothing wrong with it.
That's a huge problem in this country.
You have to ask. What's wrong? Oh, what's the meaning of that? Or how can I get this? Just ask. Somebody always knows. Somebody has done it before. So it's good to ask questions, but people don't ask questions, and people don't want to be that's the thing. If you are an apprentice, you would have asked the questions, you would have seen it, but you don't want to be apprentice, and you don't want to ask the questions also. You want to be, you just want to be, oh yeah, I know it already. But it doesn't happen like that, and I think that's one big thing that would help the industry as a whole and help the country as a whole. I mean, I wish that, accounting businesses would find small entrepreneurs who are starting businesses and try and help them with all this accounting business part of the job, because I think that as a country we have so many artists, we have so many creative people, but the business side is the thing which we lack, which unless you go to school purposely to learn that, you do not get it. And it's not everybody who can sit in school to say I want to go and learn the business side. There are people who will be able to do it, but it's not. So if there was a firm that would pick on, do a survey and look at these people and say, I want to help them. I mean, genuinely help them, structure their things for them. I'm sure it will help other, small businesses grow a lot. I would love to see that happen, but it's not in my domain, so I don't know. Yeah, but that would help a lot of people. I know people who are suffering with that, because it's always a difficult thing when you're trying to say, how much do I pay myself? How much did I get for the job?
How much am I pay the company? How much I put back in?
And so when you have those, you can pre-finance a job up to a certain amount, or those things. I think is a very difficult thing to do in terms of business. I was fortunate. I have some business friends, people who did business and business. So when I'm doing something that I do not know, I just send an email and say, what is this? Can you help me with that? How does this work? And things like that. That way I know how to go about it. And they help me. But how many people will probably have friends like I do?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good thing to somebody who set it up. I'll be glad to to go help and tell people, go to this place.
Okay.
Go and see, they'll help you out and they'll sort you out. Yeah, But it's a tough world out here, and getting the things right. Materials, you don't have everything. You have to create. You have to ship in. You can't blame the suppliers down here. Really, the reason is because a lot of people will not use it often. So if I'm going to spend money bringing this, how often will it move for me?
Yeah.
So you cannot blame that. Yeah, this is very justifiable, and tax is crazy. Maybe that's another thing. Tax is like too much on some of the things you bring. So, which I don't know. But if I was the government, I think this is the whole industry of art. The whole art industry. I feel like it's the industry that can cut unemployment rate down by half. It's just an instant cut like that.
Yeah.
Then the rest starts adding up. And the only way I feel like you can do that is to be able to waive off tax from some of these things that, because we don't have them here, we have to bring them here to work, so that once the things are here, people can employ a lot more people, because they are not paying so much on bringing one item. Then they think of, how am I going to make the money back? So why do I employ this person? I think they have to look at a thing and say, look, these people are able to do this. There's so much unemployment. If we did this for them, they can do this, and then we can cut ourselves, and we don't have to be burdened with creating jobs for people. When just cut the tax, and there's jobs are there for the people. Who is saying no? Cut the jobs, cut the tax. The jobs will just come out, because people will have the money to be able to employ people. I don't know. For me, I think that's other countries have done it. But in Nigeria, there's so much employment in film, TV, events. So many people. They even have numbers. We are only 25. We can't cut unemployment. That's not good. If they say we are not paying the tax, they should find a way to get us to pay the tax and file the tax. Then they can get their money, but don't go and put it on things. So that some people will always pay, but some people will not pay. But that's a government, and I don't know what somebody's thinking like we all think, but yeah, maybe it will happen. Maybe I'll be president, and then I can say, look, all these people, they're not paying.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Right. You're welcome. Anytime.
It's been a good talk.
Yeah. This thing. Sometimes I had a friend who called me 2 days ago. It's like, the day I respected you, and this is old, and even I did not remember that. And we were on a set, and I think what happened was we're in a room. They asked me to do something, create a room, and they are just giving me the room, and things were not there like decor and stuff like that. So I think at the time I did something, and I had forgotten that that's what I did. But the person was like, "That's how I respected you." And the person said, "Do you remember what you did?" I was like, "No." He said, "Okay, you took a broom, normal broom that we use here, and then you turn it upside down with a head, and then you took your can sprays from your can, and then you sprayed it different colors, and then you put it down and it became a decorative piece." I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember I did that." But that was something I don't remember. But in the spur of the moment, you have to do something, and you have to try and be like, "Okay, what can I do?" Because really, if you're a production designer or director, you're almost like they expect you to do magic all the time. Oh, I want this pen to be blue. Okay, you have to make it be blue.
Yeah.
So then you have to think of what if you can't have if you don't have paint to paint it blue. If the pen is not going to work and they just want it to be blue, maybe I'll just think of taking off this, pulling off the ink, spilling it, and running the pen. Let it dry. Now it's a blue pen. Here you go. You have to think like that. You have to think of things. If you cannot think like that, then you are not. Yeah. Those are the things that make difference. I think that create a difference. You have to think, because really the thing is in there. It's blue. Okay, they want the body to be this. I don't have anything blue around. I can't wrap it. Okay, pull it off, put the ink down, roll it in, let it dry. It's blue pen.
Yeah.
Got it. So I don't know if it's skill or it's talent or it's just how people grow up and think and whatever. But if you have to do jobs like this, you have to be. I don't even say you have to be. You have to be creative. It's a necessity, but you have to also be able to think like on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes with apprenticeship. You may not be that type of person, but because you see people do it, it becomes part of you, and you're able to do it too. Yeah, but we'll get there. There's hope.
There's hope. There's always hope.
Nkrumah didn't give up, so we won't give up.
Man. Okay. Thank you.
Right.